Hey everyone, Harrison101 back at it once again for a brand new video for you, and it's time for episode 2 of the Racing Game Chronicles, my look at the landscape of racing games in the next generation of consoles. In this episode, we go back to 2010 for a look at Criterion Games' Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. By 2010, people were starting to lose faith in the Need for Speed franchise. Most Wanted showed the potential EA had back in 2005, but ever since, subsequent sequels and spin-offs had a negative effect on sales and the reputation of the franchise and developers themselves. Carbon was solid but very hollow and predictably short. Pro Street was an unsuccessful experiment, and Undercover? The less said about that bust, the better. Ship was a pleasurable side path from the main focus, but Criterion Games were entrusted with trying to save the series of Hot Pursuits, and that they most certainly did. Commenting on the presentation first, graphically, this game is gorgeous. Criterion have done an amazing job with the environments in this game. From highways to snowy mountains, deserts, industrial and city areas, this game has a little bit of everything from a landscape perspective, including dirt and gravel shortcuts. Other things like smoke coming off the tyres while drifting is awesome, and the crash detection and crash damage is subtle yet effective given the style of the game's graphics and textures. On top of that, this game has a superb soundtrack, including artists like 30 Seconds to Mars used in the infamous intro sequence, as well as Pendulum, and some of the engine sounds used for the game are just superb, better than any racing game I've ever seen, even to this day. Criterion deserve a ton of praise and credit for getting the visual and audio parts of this game just about as spot on as they could possibly have gotten it. As for the game itself, it takes place in a fictional area called Seacrest County, a wide open area of about 320 miles. In this area, there is a constant battle between the SCPD, Seacrest County Police Department, and its street racers, obviously breaking the law. Let's be honest here, this whole area and game is one giant weapon-filled hybrid of wacky races, Battlefield minus Rihanna's terrible acting, and cops and robbers from Burnout Paradise. Which is ironic considering Criterion also made that game as well. Also, Cops and Robbers is kind of like that game you'd see in a primary school playground. Did anybody else play that? Or was it called Bulldog? I don't know, I'm getting distracted. That's the only real story in this game. Once you start playing, you're taken to a giant map area, and events are divided into either playing as a police officer or as a racer, as the game suggests. I'm not complaining really. Who buys a racing game for the story anyway? Undercover, we're looking at you. This game, simply put, doesn't need one. Need for Speed The Run, also take note. You progress and level up in this game as a racer and as a cop separately by earning bounty. You can do this by earning medals in events or badges if you're playing as a cop, and by driving dangerously, doing things like slipstreaming, drifting, reaching your top speed. Think Burnout again here. Evading police officers, damaging the state if you're a racer, and setting personal bests, as well as topping the speed wall, the leaderboards with your friends, using EA's new auto log system, which debuted in this game. More on that towards the end of the review. Earning bounty will advance you as either a racer or a cop, unlocking more exotic cars for your use, as well as unlocking extra weapons as well as upgrades for said weapons. From Subarus and Audis right at the start of the game to Lamborghinis and McLarens later down the line, as well as the Bugatti Veyron, the Koenigsegg CCX and other hypercars. Some of these weapons used in the game include the Spike Strip, fired backwards to help take cars and puncture their tyres, improved roadblocks by the police, EMPs, which stand for electromagnetic pulses to be fired at rivals, stunning them and causing damage from short to medium range, helicopters and their strike strips, jammers, and the turbo, which acts like your car is attached to one of the hedgehog's legs. I'm particularly fond of the turbo weapon as it gives an extra sense of speed, a la Need for Speed Shift 2 I mentioned in the first episode of the Racing Game Chronicles. Something many racing games just don't have nowadays, even now in 2012. As said, these weapons get unlocked and upgraded as you progress through the game. It's just a small shame there's only 4 of them per side, but these weapons are well balanced and fair, especially when playing online, so I like the extra dynamic they bring to the table in many races and pursuits. Race events are divided by category as well. If you're a cop, you have previews, i.e. testing fast cars beyond your normal capabilities in time trials, rapid responses, similar point-to-point time trials against the clock, race shutdowns where you have to destroy and bust as many cars in a race as you can in different scenarios with varying levels of weapons and car difficulty, and duels where you face a breakaway racer one-on-one in a straight dogfight, like Top Gun for instance. You get very similar events for races too, just from a different perspective obviously, which is probably this game's biggest weakness. There just isn't enough variety in events to keep you fully engaged for longer periods of time due to lack of real creativity from Criterion and the other developers. But there are two great counters to this which I'll explain. The first of which is online multiplayer, which is excellent in this game. You can take part in up to 4-on-4 online pursuits and have up to 8 racers playing online at the same time, and considering it's so balanced, it's very enjoyable. The servers as well have been excellent even now 2 years on as I replay it. All bounty earned while playing online is also carried over into your main career, whether you're a racer or a cop, which is a nice added bonus, making online even more rewarding to play. The second of which is the game's auto-log system. This system tracks your friends who also play the game and compares their times in the leaderboard, as well as having all other stats traceable and comparable, similar to what Criterion did with Burnout Paradise. If you beat your friends' times, you can post it on their wall and message them, talking a little bit of smack and having some banter back and forth. They can do the same with you, and as you can imagine, this can get really competitive, and it's a really clever way of adding longevity to the game, feeding off you and others' competitiveness, especially as the variety in events is a little on the short side. The whole game overall is about 10 hours to complete from both sides. It's not a massive amount of time, so Autolog really can help to this. You can also share pictures on there using the Autolog system, effectively making it a racing game version of Facebook, just without the whiny statuses and the drunken clubbing pictures. Probably. This game is arguably the best racing game in 2010, and yes, I am fully aware of Gran Turismo 5 also being released in the same year. It's brilliant, it's fun, it looks gorgeous, it's competitive, and it's just about everything you could ever need from a racing game. And I repeat what I said from the start, this game saved the Need for Speed name, and is the best in the series since the amazing Most Wanted from 2005. Well played, Criterion, you did a darn good job. Here's hoping Most Wanted in October continues their excellent streak of racing titles, similar to how Codemasters are doing now with Dirt, Grid and the Formula 1 franchises they own. A Burnout Paradise sequel though wouldn't hurt, I'm just saying. If you're a casual fan of racers, this is an absolute must buy, and given its relative value now 2 years on, it's probably fairly cheap as well, so I highly recommend you give this a shot. If you have played Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, please comment below and let me know what you thought. I've been Harrison101, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment as to which racing games on the Xbox 360 you'd also like me to review in future episodes of the Racing Game Chronicles. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Sayonara.
My car's down. I need someone to fix it.